morning, everybody. I toast to you and all you do. I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are. I hope that you're enjoying your winter, and we are almost to midwinter, so we have this blossoming energy that's coming. I guess blossoming isn't the right word. Let's say, I was going to say festering, but I don't think that that's the right word either. I mean, I guess kind of. We have this festering energy underground that's really bubbling up and coming to the surface. It's very fitting with this Leo moon and the cosmic astrological energy that's really been going on. So we talked a lot last year about reflecting on this top-down power structure, on who are you giving your authority to, and what power are you giving with that authority. Saturn, for the last 2 years being in Aquarius, has really flooded us with sorry, I hesitate because every time I say this, there's always someone who comes back at me like Saturn and karma don't go together, but they do. So Saturn is flooding us with this karmatic reminder, how is your energy affecting society? How is it affecting you and the people around you and the energy of the world and the universe? And how is this all fitting together in this structure? And so this last 2 years, we really have had this flood of structure trying to come down on everyone, and everyone thinking what is this structure really bringing me? What am I getting from this? What power am I giving to it? And where is this balance, and how is it benefiting everybody? And so we've also had winter, and we had the dark season, and so we're coming out of all of this reflective period, and we're stepping into this new awakening. So I watch several YouTubers. One of them is Pam Gregory, and she's amazing, but she talks a lot about this new world that we're creating and that we're stepping into this new cosmic energy. And we have a lot of divine awakenings happening, and this new spiritual outlook that we're stepping into cosmically. And so each person is creating their own new world in this reflection on who it is that we are and who we want to be, and where our power is being placed. And so as we've reflected over the last 2 years, we've really thought a lot about who we are and how we fit into this world and what it is that we want from life and what we're getting out of life. And a lot of people have made really big changes. You have, had grand awakenings, realizations, deep. So for me, it's been really deep introspection, really looking deep into myself and seeing where do my insecurities and my issues and my, whatever, all of those things, where is that coming from? How am I healing this? It's been really rough over the last month. We've just, coming out of that dark period and all of that reflection, and then into this weird energy with all of the planets coming out of retrograde, and this forward momentum has really pushed me to okay, we've reflected, now what? Bam, do something. And Imbolc's energy of this fiery cleansing energy has always been a big part of my connection with the fire, the energy of fire. And we have this Leo full moon, which is in fire, as a fire sign. And so we have this really fiery energy. And this is a unique fiery energy because it's not the fiery energy that's like the candle that leads you through the darkness. It's not this gentle cooking stove, controllable fire. This is a fire of a forest fire. This is the fire when we burn the crops, when we grass fires that just take over. This is change. And so we're also, so it's not even just the Leo moon, but we're also at Imbolc or midwinter, which is that same thing. All of these seeds that you've planted underground and within yourself and in your life, and all of this germination that's happening behind the scenes. Now is that time when you are like, okay, let's focus on that energy. Let's put it out there. Let's really step into that new. Let's embrace that and let's manifest that for real in our life, not just in our thoughts and in our dreams and in our hopes, but like really manifest that. And this is a hard transition. You know, the very popular saying, it's easier said than done, is so true so many times. We say these things to ourselves. This year, I'm going to whatever. And then you get to this point and we have this cosmic energy and we don't take hold of it. And then we just don't do those things. You know, there's many, many years where I've like, I'm gonna blank. And then it just doesn't happen. I really was like, I'm going to do yoga every day. Like, I've gotten better. I do yoga more often, but I need to do it every day. I need to take that time out of my day to take care of myself, take care of my body, my mind, my soul, everything, and just do yoga every day. Even if it's only 10 minutes or 5 minutes. No, it's got to be more than 5 minutes. If it's only 15 minutes a day, I need to do that. And I am not so good at it. We're going to do it, okay? It's not too late. I'm going to take hold of this energy and I'm going to make that change to really invest in myself and in being this better self, creating this new world that is the ideal world that, you know, presents my ideal self to the ideal world. And that's where everyone is at. Regardless if you want to accept that, regardless if you want to reflect on that, or if you want to believe that the cosmic energies are encouraging this, if you followed these videos or you follow other YouTuber videos who are astrologers, you know, I have 4 that I watch pretty regularly, and I watch all of them for the full moon and the dark moon and stuff like that. And it was part of my research and when I do the natal chart, and just to kind of get this information from people who have more practice than I do. And it's always interesting to me that even though each one of them focuses on different parts of the natal chart or different aspects of the moon, one of them is just this, she is an Aquarius and she has a lot of Leo in her chart. So she's like, this is her moon. This Leo Aquarian moon is right on her. And she is just this flowing Leo energy. It's beautiful. She very much reminds me of that song. It's the age of Aquarius. And she dances. It's amazing. And she focuses very much on it from that aspect. Pam Gregory is, I don't even think she's pagan. I'm pretty sure she's a Christian. She's just an astrologer. She focuses very much on like mythology, and she has a lot of like historical references, like 200 years ago, the last time Pluto was at this return, this is what happened. And 2 years ago, and really doing the like more science side of astrology. And then I watch another lady who is also like me, a nutritionist and a health coach, life coach type person. And so she has different aspects. And so even though each one is focusing, I also watch a man. I finally found a dude. Oh, I can't remember his name. I'm so bad with names. I'm going to have to share and add him to my thing on the wall. Anyways, and he has a different perspective on it. And so even though they each have a different perspective of what's going on with this astrological energy right now, they all are focused on the same thing. Big changes are happening astrologically. The cosmic energy is focusing on asking us and encouraging us to make changes to adapt to this ideal world and this ideal self, and to really ask us, who is holding your power? And what are they doing with that power? So I know people, and you see people all the time, who their power is held by social media. And they watch social media and all they do is watch TikTok and listen to these voices on Instagram and all of that of social media. And that is their influence. And that's where they're giving their power. Now, what are those people doing with that power? What is happening with that power? And you really got to think about that. By focusing on that and giving your energy into that, what are you doing with your power? So other people really focus on the news and watching the news, and not just any news, but one news. You go to some people's house, it's always CNN, or it's always Fox News, and that's all they watch all day. It's playing in the background. This is where they're giving their power to. This is what they're focusing on all day. This is what they're hearing. This is the rhetoric that they are listening to. You know, some people it's the government, and they're listening to what the government is telling them. Some people it's their local church or their local community leader or their best friend. And for some people, it's coming from within. And one of the reminders that we've really gotten over the last year with Pluto is that we need to be focused more on within. And instead of handing our power off to somebody else and giving that away, we need to hold on to our power, and we need to make ourselves the authority, and we need to decide who it is with honesty and integrity and truth, who we want to be and how we want to present ourselves to the world. And it's not just Pluto, but Saturn and everything else that's been going on over the last year. And right now, Uranus, big changes in Uranus. We just had Uranus go direct. Uranus is in Aquarius, so it's really heightened energy. Like, we're in Aquarius, which is a Uranus energy, So we also have that heightened energy. Uranus has been really active over the last couple moon cycles, and throughout, as we've looked at those charts, we've talked about Uranus a lot because it's been in these major roles, square and conjunct and, at opposition, and really been influencing our energies. And Uranus is this very disruptive energy, like a forest fire, that if we are just focusing on the devastation, is really bad. But if we focus on the change that comes out of that devastation and the new beautiful awakening that can arise after that, change is a beautiful thing. Change needs to be accepted. We need to step into that role of change. And so with Neptune or Uranus going direct on the 22nd, so that just happened. And here in a month, I think, what is it? Yeah, in March, it's going to move into Aquarius. Right as we leave, right as the sun leaves Aquarius, Uranus is going to step into Aquarius and then be in Aquarius for something like 2 years or 3 years or something like that. And so it's really going to amplify this energy. And we often get caught up on the disrupt, like you talk to astrologers or listen to astrologers and they're like, oh, Uranus is doing this thing and we're going to have a lot of eruptions, volcanic earthquakes, big erupting of this energy. But really, it's change. This is forward, permanent change. And when we're scared of that change, or when we don't embrace change, and we're just in our own way, this can be a very scary, anxious energy. It can be felt as like right before you walk on stage and there's 100 people in front of you and you're like, oh my God. It's that kind of anxiety, that a lot of people feel with this Uranus energy. And so as we're stepping into this change, it's really important to step back, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, where am I giving my power to? Who is my authority? Am I ready to accept the change that I need to accept in order to be my own authority and to step into my own power? And who is this ideal self that I am? Okay, so we've been reflecting on that a lot over the last 2 years. As we come into this Leo full moon and this Imbolc energy, I know for me personally, it really does feel like there is a forest fire on the edge. And like you see it over the horizon, and you're like, it's coming. And so this is a swift change, and it's coming, and it's permanent. But one of the astrologers I watched said something very interesting. She says, if you're not ready to step into this change and you're not ready to do this, then you don't have to. Just step aside and let it happen. And be comfortable with that notion. So for some, as this great cosmic change is happening and this momentum of different energy is really starting to flow, you, as always, have the option to step aside and say, this is too much for me right now. I am comfortable with who I am and where I'm at, and this is what I'm doing. And that's okay. And so step aside and just, take that seat, take that place, and be comfortable and confident in that. This is also the time, if you're making changes in your life and you're healing and you're growing and you're, getting closer to that ideal self, step into those roles. Allow those changes to happen. Move into that place. Allow this cosmic energy, allow the, reflecting and the thought thinking and all of the things that you've been doing over the last 2 years. Really just allow them to happen. Make those changes. Choose to be present and step into that role of your ideal self and really focus your intention on supporting that ideal self. And this full moon is going to be an amazing time to do that. This is an amazing time for you to sit down under the full moon, out in the freezing snow, and have that moment of, like, I almost think of it like as a baptism, like a baptism by fire or a baptism by extreme ice in my case, because it's freezing outside, which also has some influence on it when we think about the energy of ice and its amazing ability to change and to change the landscape. You see a giant piece of ice that comes through a landscape, and it has created, valleys and gorges and riverways and all of these things. And this is ice. It just comes through and it permanently changes that which is behind it. And same, I don't know what the right word is here, but same elemental change, that's not the right word, but it's just the same energy as a forest fire. This is change that is permanent. This is like toasting the toast. You can't untoast the toast. If your kids watch PBS, I hope that you hear that song playing in your head too now, because it's not going to go away for me for several days. Can't untoast the toast. Anyways, it's that kind of change. And it is okay to embrace that change. It is good to embrace that change. When we embrace that change and we step into that change, we come out on the other side able to see the beauty and the new growth that's now available, because we've let go of that which we don't need. And now we can move forward. So it was way longer than I'd anticipated that little to go. But let's talk about actually what's going on. So I have the full moon chart. All right. It's just like an arrow to me. The moon is shining on everything. We still have this heavy one-sidedness in the chart. I mean, the moon is at the opposite side now, obviously, but we just still have this very heavy one-sided chart. And the moon is just like shining her light on all of that and really reflecting on what needs to happen. So this is a good time to go outside and say, okay, I'm ready to make these changes. Show me exactly what I need to do in order to be successful. Show me what I've missed. Show me what I need to work on. Show me what it is that I need to do. Like I talked about, we have all of the planets direct right now. So it is this motivating energy. No matter what it is you're doing, you're probably feeling a little more motivated, and also motivated to question things and question, like, what is it that I need to do? What is it that what are you doing? And why am I following you? Like, what is it that you're, what? That, the question today. Also, just a side note, this is the 5th moon of the 7-moon cycle, where all of the moons fall at 16 degrees of their sign. And this adds a forward momentum. We're past the halfway point of the sign, and we're like, go. And so we're moving on. It is fixed fire. And like I said, that is this it's just This fire energy is just a little bit different because it's, you can't untoast the toast. I already talked about it. So, then it's in the energy of Leo. So Leo really reminds us to stand in this loving and caring energy, this energy that is filled with like integrity and honor, and is the leader that we all wish we could be and we all wish we had. And some of us do have that and some of us are at that, and it's time to honor that and to really step into that role. And we have to not confuse that leadership role with, say, being a leader. Okay, I need to step into my leadership role, so I'm going to be the boss at work. That's not necessarily true. Sorry, in my brain, I've been watching a lot of these weird modern women videos that are like modern women versus traditional women. And so my brain just went to a really crazy place with this. We're gonna go back to this. Not even gonna go there. Anyways, so we need to stand in this loving energy and these roles that, that's okay. So you don't have to be the manager. You don't have to be the king of the castle. You don't have to be the boss. You don't have to be this role. Every role that we take has a leadership in it. Every role is important. Sometimes when we were talking about equality, we get this idea in our brain that means that everybody needs to be doing the same thing at the same level and being paid and treated exactly the same across like all boards. But in reality, it doesn't matter if you're the doctor or the lawyer or the banker, or if you are the gas station attendant and the restaurant worker and the janitor. These roles, however we as a society want to believe that one is more important than the other, they're really not. And each role is just as important. If no one picked up your trash every day, every week, we all have people that come and pick up our trash. If no one came and picked up your trash, everyone would be sick. You would be just as sick in society and people would be dying as if you had no doctors. And we often do not give these persons the honor, because I honestly appreciate my trash truck driver more than my doctors. I give them Christmas presents. I say thank you. I make sure to put the cans out where they can reach them without having to get out of their truck, especially when it's snowing outside. I just try to be really thankful for what they do, because the thought of having all of my trash pile up at my house and having to figure out what to do with all of this trash, everybody being sick, and it just... So, each role, it doesn't matter where you are, mother, father, trash man, doctor, teacher, lawyer, each one has its own importance in our society, and each one should be valued just as much. And if you're the trash truck driver or the teacher or the doctor, no matter where it is, you have to step into your role in society, and also your role as self. Who is my boss? We were just talking about. Where is my authority going? Am I my own leader? And do I lead myself where I want to be? So when we talk about stepping into your leadership role and we talk about this Leo leader energy, it doesn't necessarily mean the boss. It doesn't necessarily mean being the president or being the whatever. It's just being your own leader and doing that with integrity and love and compassion. So, we're just talking a lot about this integrity and compassion and being this ideal self. I don't think that anyone envisions themselves as a butthead. I think that most people, when they're like, if I was a perfect person in my brain, I would be compassionate. And that might not be the first thing on a person's list, but typically on their list somewhere, having compassion and being a caring person and being respected by the people around you because you're a decent human being is on the list. So everyone can step into that role where we are our own leader, we have integrity, we are doing things for the best of ourselves and putting our best selves forward, and therefore creating a better society. It's amazing. So talk a little bit about Uranus again, because like I said, Uranus is just all over the place. So right now we have Uranus at a T square with the sun and the moon, which is really bringing in a disruptive energy. But it's all on the perspective in which you look at it. If you look at this disruptive energy as, this is ruining my life, and why are all these bad things happening to me, and no matter what I do, it just is bad, and it's just disruptive, and it's just, everything is earthquaking and flooding, and because we have Aquarius and Uranus, it's just a flooding earthquake, volcano eruption. If that's all you're focused on, then this is this T square can feel, even just talking about it, makes me really anxious. Because I don't fight change, I accept change, I'm all about change, but when I really embrace change, it's always a forest fire. It's always a volcano eruption that just floods through my whole life and everything is changed, and then we come out the other side and all right, now what? So it's always a little stressful, and that's okay. A little bit of stress is good for you. Don't hyper focus on that stress. Don't get stuck in being focused on the disruptive nature of things. Whenever we have a disruption in our life, it's a reminder of something that needs to be changed. So if you're suddenly feeling very insecure, or you're suddenly feeling like everything in your life is pointing towards this one thing, it probably is, because it's a reminder that that's what needs to change. If negative self-talk is really getting you, and it's really loud right now, and it's like in your face, and everything around you seems to be, reaffirming this, change that self-talk. That's what it's telling you. It's not telling you that your self-talk is right. It's telling you you need to change that negative self-talk. If every day you go to work and you're like, I really hate this job, and you're getting job offers and other things are happening, and the world is like, maybe it's time to take those other jobs and move forward in your life, your career, even if it's not something that you would ideally think was perfect. Sometimes you just have to accept that change. Sometimes you just have to make that step forward. And so this T square is really highlighting an eruptive energy. You'll have this feeling of urgency. Oh, my light died. All right. Well, now we know. At the charge it was on, it only lasted 28 minutes. It's not too bad. Anyways. So be mindful that it's okay to be adaptive. It's time to be adaptive. It's time to make those changes. This can be a helpful time to, allow this change to happen and really move forward with that. We also have Mercury and Pluto conjunct in Capricorn, and they are square to Eris. So, as always, Eris is fighting for the minority, for those who are not heard, and really brings up those feelings that you don't typically like to think about, those thoughts that you don't want to always voice out loud. Eris is the energy that will always stand up and do the right thing and find justice. A couple of years ago, there were all these homeless people that were not homeless, there were a group of people who were beating up people on downtown sidewalks. They really hurt a homeless person. It was just really bad. And when you watch the videos, like from the 7-Eleven cameras or whatever, there are people standing around as this person is getting beat up. And all I could think of is, my brain is like, you got to stand up and say something. Like, why doesn't anybody say anything? And Eris would never walk past that. Eris would push through the crowd and stop it and call to justice and be like, somebody call the police. We need to stop this. Like, what are you doing? And so with Eris being square to this Pluto-Mercury conjunction, it's just bringing up the truth and reminding us, like, hey, while we're having this deep thought and we're really thinking about things and these things are really bubbling up from the surface, the truth. Focus on the truth and stand up for what's right. Right in yourself, right in other people, right in your town, your community, your home, your family, whatever it is. Stand up and do the right thing. And Mercury, Pluto together, they're like, here are the deep, dark secrets. Here are the things. Let's communicate about it. Let's talk about it. Let's bring all of that out to the surface and let's really learn about the truth. So, and Mercury is also sextile to Neptune right now. So it is flowing forth with this spiritual energy. And so if you were to think about this like visually, you have Mercury with his trumpet and he is spouting out information. I mean, constantly. He's just like a flow of communication and energy and talk, and he's spouting through this information. But right now, whispering in from behind him is Pluto, who's like, here's all of these deep, dark secrets. Here's all of these truths revealed, and let's help to spread this information. And then you have Neptune, who's coming from this higher perspective, who says, here is this grand spiritual higher perspective, and I'm going to shed that light on you also. And it's like, and I mean, what a beautiful yin and yang kind of opposites, both influencing and pushing forth this energy through Mercury. I mean, Mercury is the flowing energy. It is the communication between the gods and the people in each other. It is the connection of knowledge and teaching and spreading information. So now you have this Pluto and sorry, choking on my spit. You have this Pluto and Neptune energy both coming in from the opposite sides, bringing in both this higher spiritual perspective and all those deep, dark truths. Like, there's nowhere to hide in this. And it's kind of overwhelming. I don't know if anybody else is feeling that overwhelming energy, but I've definitely been feeling this overwhelming energy. The longer Pluto and Mercury hang out next to each other, and Neptune in this sextile has just been like sometimes you don't want to listen to the information that you're getting from the divine, and then you get these truths and these things, and they're like coming from both directions, and you're like, okay, I just have to accept this change. But like I said, if you really have to step aside from that, that's okay too. So we also, sorry, I was trying to go like Mercury, and then now let's talk about Venus. So Venus is sextile to the North Node right now. And whenever we have that energy, it really brings forth this loving, secure, harmonious energy that, you know, blossoms forth this beautiful energy and is a reminder that compassion and love is endless. And when we step into those energies, they will just continue to flow forth. And the North Node is that place of new beginnings and blessings. And so as you step into these new lights, this is like a beautiful, gentle reminder that love is endless. And if you love yourself and you love the people around you, then you will blossom more love. And you will put out that energy, and that energy will come to you multiplied. And so this is just a beautiful, gentle reminder. So I always like including those, which was one of the, I don't know, I didn't see it in several of the other videos. Actually, I don't think anybody else talked about it. And I was like, this is important. We have this loving, compassionate energy that is reminding us that no matter how treacherous what turmoil we feel we're in, whatever it may be, love is endless and it is always there. There is always more love in you and in another person, and it's multiplying and beautiful and prosperous. We also have Venus square to Mars. On the opposite spectrum of what I was just talking about, you have Venus and Mars square, which really bring in this like bold and impulsive energy in both your financial world and your relationships. It will make you back to that authority. If you're stepping into your own authority and really recognizing who's holding your power, it will really make you think about that power dynamic in a relationship. And again, don't get caught up in the idea that though in a relationship you have to do the same thing to be equal, because that is not true. Just like the plumber and the doctor, the trash man and the doctor bring something very different to the table, they are just as equally important. If one person in the relationship is bringing home the money and one person in the relationship is maintaining the home, that's important. If you are both going to work and you're both maintaining the home and you've struck some kind of balance and you've figured out where your balance is, that's also important. It's going to be different for each couple and where they sit and what each person holds as their power and where their roles are. And then recognizing that this is a team. Without one, the other one would not be successful. If you didn't have somebody to cook and clean and do your laundry and take care of the house, then the person who was going to work would not be as successful, because they then have to worry about all of these other things and carry this whole load. And then it's not a team. It's not a relationship. It's not working together. So it doesn't matter what roles you take on, as long as you're realizing your power dynamic and having a healthy dynamic. And this Mars Venus square really helps to highlight that dynamic. And in financial world, same kind of thing. If you're not being fiscally responsible and you are, whatever, this is going to highlight that. It's going to say, what are you doing in order to make sure that your power, your money, is being used to the best of its ability? What are you doing in your relationships, not just with your spouse, but all relationships right now, in order to make sure that you are working to the best of your ability? And sometimes seeing those things is a challenge and hearing those things is hard. And that's where this square conflict comes from, but it doesn't have to be a negative thing. So just realize that as you're kind of processing through that. All right. Jupiter is sextile to Mars. So again, we have this expanding energy of your own authority. Mars is that inner warrior, and Jupiter is that expanding leader. And so when they come together like this in this flowing together energy of a sextile, it is very much like step into your authority and allow that to flow forth. I just laugh because all of these cosmic energies flow together so nicely. Like you can't make that up. I don't know. It's one of those things when I start looking at the chart and looking how the energies are connected and watching the videos and doing the research and stuff like that. It's always just interesting to me how there will be an overall theme and everything will kind of point towards that. Right now, the overall theme is we've reflected, we've thought about it. We know where we are giving our power to and who is our authority. Whether we want to say it out loud or not, we know. And right now you're really being pushed forward to say that out loud. Okay, where is my authority going to? I am my own authority. Or that person is my authority. Or the government is my authority. Or I'm giving my authority to my doctor. Wherever. And then what power am I giving with that? We've reflected on that a lot. And if you haven't, you just haven't really brought it to the forefront. And so right now is a great time to really bring that to the forefront and really think about it. as you have reflected and been alone and thought, where is that authority and power going to? And what kind of person do you want to be? Like, what are you doing with that power? Because that's the power that I'm talking about. The power of who you want to be, of who you are, the energy that you put forth into the world. And right now, all of the planets and this universal energy and the seasons, and it's all coming to this point of we have reflected. The universe is really strongly encouraging you to step into your own authority and to be you, this ideal you who you have reflected on and thought about and know, and this is who I want to be, and to step into that. And not based off of what somebody else told you, or not based off of what you saw on Twitter or on the TV or wherever, but really based off of the reflection that you've done on who you want to be. Whew, that's heavy. All right, so Mars is busy. We already talked about Mars squares Venus and Mars square Jupiter. Mars is trine to the sun right now, which brings in this expansion of self, this bold energy. See, I told you, they're all like, hello. You've reflected, you've thought, you are. Who are you going to be? Like, really step into that role. The Leo moon, this leader, this, like, I just, when you watch those Lifetime movies and there's like that perfect father who is just Mufasa, okay? So you have Mufasa. You have that Mufasa character, that perfect father who does the right thing, who has integrity, who makes the right choices and teaches their children to make the right choices, even when it's the hard choice to make. And really encourages you. So when this Leo energy comes into the moon, I feel like it's the mother and the father stepping forth, like that perfect parents who we all wish we could be or wish we had. Like, even if you had good parents, they're just not this amazing. Like, this ideal perfect parents are stepping forward, and they are with a warm, strong embrace, really truly encouraging you to move forward and to be the best that you can be and who you are truly meant to be. And so do you want to keep repeating the same cycle, or are you going to step into that higher self? Are you carrying too much of your past into your future? And is it time to let that go? And what are we letting go of? That's that Uranus energy that we talked about. But what are we moving forward with? It reminds us to bring more intention to our path. And again, what are you doing with your power on that path? I can't say this enough. Yeah, I was just going to say it again, but I don't need to. So this is just a great time to be mindful of your ego and to check that ego and to think about what, are you using your power to hurt others, to influence others, to be better than others, bigger than others? Because that's not the point. The point is to use your power to be compassionate and loving and share your wisdom and to be that ideal self that presents this, that creates this amazing place, because we're all being our ideal selves and we're all coming forward as caring, compassionate, with wise, like, let's help each other. It doesn't have to be a competition all the time. There are enough resources in this world for everybody to work together and be happy and stop polluting and really focus on making these changes to better our lives and finding the right places to compromise. Just random side frustrating note, we had this great thing come into my area. I live in a very rural area. There's a lot of cows. And there was a bioenergy company that came in and built a factory where they take the cow poop and they do whatever to it and they turn it into methanol, and they collect this methanol to create energy. And so then we have this new form of natural gas that is also cleaning up all of the poo. But this factory obviously smells really bad. And so the neighborhood that was miles downwind and they didn't think was going to be an issue, and the houses that were kind of in between, scattered in this very rural area that already stinks most of the time because there's a lot of cows around. Uh, um, it ended up being shut down because of all of these people complaining that it stunk so bad. So, like, finding the right place is a compromise. Like, maybe move. Maybe I know that's not a great compromise, but like maybe just accept that that factory is going to be stinky often. I don't know. What are we wanting to compromise on? Is it the smell or the permanent pollution and damage that we're doing to the earth? I guess I didn't live downwind, so it's hard for me to make that choice, but I do live in this community and I do live downwind from like the Swift packing plants where they make cheese and meat and all of those things, and it is smelly. Anyways, what is this ideal self that we're presenting to the world? Who is it that we want to step forward and be? You know, this is a great time for honest reflection. Sit, like I said, go outside, sit down under the full moon, and really reflect. Take your seat with the divine, and this is who I am. And then they're going to tell you, no, maybe, or yes, and really help you. Or maybe this is who I want to be, and what do I need to do in order to better get to that place? And then they will also, again, tell you, like they will highlight that. Dream magic, Leo is great for dream magic. The lions sleep like all day, so a lot of work can be done with dream magic. So this is also a great time to do dream magic, to sit down right before you go to sleep and to really focus your intention on my ideal self, being that person that I really want to be, and what I need to do, where I need to focus my intention. You know, how do I present this to the world and really step into this role? And so this is a great time for that. And make those changes. With Imbolc and or midwinter and this time of year, like this time between midwinter and the spring equinox is like the time. This is when we really have this internal motivating energy, and the universe is fertilizing it with all of this great energy. And it really is like, make that change. Let those seeds pop up from under the ground. Let that all happen. Really embrace this change and become the person that you want to be. Because you can do it. You have that power. Take your power back. All right. Before I say the same thing yet again, because I feel like I did kind of say the same thing over and over again, it's just important for people to hear this. And when we look at our chart and we talk about all of these, all of these influences that are happening, that's what they're saying. That's I can only share with you what they're saying. So right now they're telling you to embrace this ideal self, make the changes that you need to make, and take that seat at the table of as who you are. And make those changes because of you. Not because somebody else told you to. Not because you saw it on TikTok or on the internet or in some other place. Not even because I'm telling you to. Make those changes because you know you want that. You know that this is who you are. And you know that you're doing the right thing that's best for you. And then in turn is best for all of the people around you. If you're pretending to be something because somebody told you to be that, or if you think, you've watched all of these videos and you've heard all of these things and you're getting this strong influence and it's telling you something and you're like, oh, that must be my solution. Maybe turn it off, step away, shift your influence and see if that feeling still exists. No matter what it may be, Every once in a while I have this inkling thought in the back of my brain that's like, if you took your wisdom of the Bible and Christianity and went to church, and you could have your own congregation very quickly. You could be leading a church and have this, but that's not I can't get behind that. It's like me being a nurse. I would be a bad preacher because I would be like, well, that's not really what God said. You really think Mary was a virgin? Who knows? I mean, I guess Zeus had babies with women all the time. Anyway, so I hope everybody is really enjoying this winter time. I really hope that it's not too much for you right now. I know that it is a really stressful time for a lot of people, like even the astrologers that I watch, the people that I talk to, the people in my community. Like, everybody is struggling. You are not alone in that struggle. Whether you are openly sharing that with the world or you're keeping it inside, like, this time is a struggle. The energy of Pluto and Saturn and shifting like they're shifting with Aquarius is heavy. Heavy, heavy, heavy. And Uranus, the same thing. Like, it is crazy. And it's just funny because Pluto right now is shifting between Mercury and Aquarius. And then we have Saturn about to move out of Aquarius, but we have Uranus about to move into Aquarius. And we just have this really heavy Aquarius energy. And like I talked about in the video before when we talked about the Aquarius moon, this is a flooding energy that changes the landscape. I mean, think about Noah's flood. Like, this deluge of energy is coming through, and it is changing the landscape. You always have the option, because we have free will, to step aside, to get on that boat, to look the other way, to just put on your blinders, and this is what it is, and that is what it is, and move forward. But for those who are ready to really step into that, I mean, I see it more like a phoenix rising. Oh, I wonder why. Anyways, but more of that energy. Like, I think of that scene in the X-Men movie where she's standing there and she's holding the water back, and then the water comes in and she arises as something new. Now, I'm not saying come back out like that as a fractured person, but let's come out of this on the other side being that ideal self. That's the other half of this energy. It's not just disruptive, it's also empowering you to be truthful, have good integrity, to be compassionate, to put forth this better person so that we can create this new world that is better than the one before. For sure. So, with that said, and this video getting really long, I hope everybody is having a fantastic day. I hope that your midwinter and your full moon are blessed and beautiful, and that you have this powerful wave of confidence that helps to flow over you to take control and be the authority to do the right thing and be your ideal self. So, I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Many blessings to you, and I will see you guys all soon.